Hey Andres, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. So let's jump straight in. So why don't you just let people know about how this all happened to you, how you got OP, and your story?
Well, I play soccer. I played collegiate soccer and semi-professional at the semi-professional level. And during the summer, while I was playing soccer, all of a sudden I tried to kick the ball, and I thought that I pulled my hamstring or my adductor area. I kind of rested for a week, couple of weeks, and I played again, and kept feeling the pain. And during the summer, I kept playing. I stopped playing at the end of the summer, and then when I came back for college for preseason, um, me and the coaches we decided to take some time to rest and see if I could get any better. And it took me around 2 or 1 week to do kind of like recovery stuff like stretching and strengthening type of exercises. All of that thinking that would just I just pulled my adductor when in fact it wasn't. By September, like 3 months after I got the injury, I decided to go to a doctor. And over there, they told me like, okay, it seems like you pulled your hamstring, but they wanted to practice me an MRI. So a week after, they did an MRI and they told me, okay, you got an OP. They told me you have to rest at least 2 or 3 months so you can get better and to go back to play soccer. So I was like, okay, this is serious.
And
Yeah.
then what happened? So they told you 2 or 3 months. What you do?
Well, I was like, there's gotta be a different way, like because they told me like it was one of those injuries that you don't get better by you have to go to get a surgery and then you will get recover for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. No, it's something that heals by itself. And I decided to start looking around on the web, doing a lot of research about what OP is, and like doing a lot of research and see like kind of like how long does it take to recover from that injury. Um, Surprisingly, I couldn't find a lot of information out there. In fact, it was very hard, and a lot of the info that I found out there was mainly was saying that okay, you pretty much have to stay uh, doing nothing, like stop doing like workouts or running because it's gonna just making it worse. And for some reason, I just kept looking around, and I found one of the YouTube videos, Jason YouTube videos, and mentioning about what OP is and all his patients that have been through the same process, and it was very different the information that he provided than the one that everybody else was saying on the internet. Like, okay, you have to stay doing nothing to get recovered. It was a lot of difference. So I was like, okay, what should I do? I don't want to wait a lot to get recovered. And for me, it was very important to find a solution, especially from somebody who had a lot of knowledge in that field. And of course, it was a little bit skeptical for me at the beginning to set up my first meeting with my first appointment with Jason, but because usually you try to find someone who sees you personally, locally, but I don't know. I just decided to make that online video call, and since then, it was the best decision that I made by treating my OP.
So what I always find interesting about like that whole process of things is obviously something internally inside you was saying like this doesn't make sense. Like, resting doesn't make sense. Like I want a different answer. Like this doesn't make sense. And sometimes part of it is just like you're like, well no, I don't want to wait that long. But sometimes part of it is also just that doesn't make sense. Like you're telling me things but I'm not convinced. And it's that urge and that desire, I think, like for people who get better and get through this, it's that desire to be like, no, that answer is, I don't feel like it's right. I'm not convinced. I want an answer that convinces me. Like that thirst thing, it makes people successful in life as well, I think, because you just keep pushing until you get the answer that you need. But I think it's also such an important thing to come when it comes to healing, because that thing that like sometimes it annoys people in your friends and stuff as well, because you ask why, you ask why, you ask why. That's the thing that makes people get better, I think, because you just keep going why, and then you get more motivated and you learn enough to fix yourself, I think, or you find the right person to help you do that. So I always think it's really interesting because it's a common thing where people go, no, I need to know more. I need to know more. And that process, I think, really makes sure that people gets better because you don't stop until you find the answer that you need, kind of thing. So
Exactly.
no, yeah. So we jumped in, right? We started having some sessions and things like that. How did you find the process? How did you find the videos? How did you find the whole experience at the beginning when you first started?
Well, at the beginning was very interesting because you were just throwing a lot of information out there, like for just treating one section, one specific area. You started talking about certain parts of the body here and there, up there. Like what's going on? Like how does it have to be related with the thing that I'm having right now? And it's just crazy. It's just definitely crazy how the body works. How how certain patterns that you develop over time can develop an injury even without even noticing that you are developing it. So that's one of the things that I found very interesting. How a lot, like you were throwing me a lot of information, very useful information, and when I started to do the exercises, the very first exercises for me, they didn't make sense at all. To be honest, I was thinking like, okay, I'm doing something with my feet and being balanced, but how come does it have to be related with this? But once you start learning about it, once you start like learning about your body and how everything works, okay, it makes sense. You have to put it in certain way. Um, I don't know. At some point, although some things didn't make sense for me, I just put my trust on you and all your knowledge and all the experiences that you have had with other patients. Um, and decided to do all exercises, even if they were a little bit weird for me, or even if you had to do like kind of like weird movements, or even if I was thinking that I was doing correct, when in fact I wasn't doing it correct. So it was quite challenging as well, but an interesting part of the whole process.
So being a soccer player and being like a high level soccer player, how did you find the transition from I've got you in this kind of isolated environment, right? Doing these like specific exercises with all these little like cues and things like, put your feet here, breathe like this, hold yourself like this. How did you find the transition of going from that very controlled environment to going back out onto the field and running and kicking and doing things like that? How did you find that transition?
Probably I was a little bit scared because I had a lot of time without actually doing a lot of kind of like more focused type of soccer exercises it was a little bit more of a different type of exercises. So when I was starting to do that transition between doing the drills or the exercises, focus towards my developing my strength of my whole body towards my injury, and then starting to do okay a little bit of running or a little bit of side movements type of things. um, I was a little bit scared because I was thinking mentally, okay, is it gonna happen again? I'm gonna feel the injury again. So I think that a big part of the whole process is in your mind. Like you have to trust the process. You have to trust that you're gonna get better soon, and that it's not gonna be easy. Though, but at some point you gotta trust on what you're doing, and eventually things are gonna go well.
Well, I think the way to put it is like is you hit a point, and it was very obvious with you in that you where you go, oh, okay, I'm gonna make myself better. I'm gonna do this. I'm like gonna control this. So maybe it's gonna take me another 2 weeks if I can't get this right, or maybe it's gonna take me 2 weeks less because I get it right faster. But like I'm in control. I'm doing this. This is my body, and I'm gonna move it the right way to stop causing pain. And yeah, like all that learning and all that stuff that you do at the start, right? Like I think that just puts you in a situation where you're like, oh, I get this now. Like this isn't a mystery. This isn't happening to me. I can work this out and I can figure it out. I think it was very obvious for you because you just got as you like learnt more and you got stronger, you just seemed to get more of a head of steam and like you seem to do more and more. The more you learnt, the harder you seem to work, kind of thing. Tell everyone how you like did your hamstring. Tell them what you did. Like remember when you did the ball slam challenge and then you went for running. Like you remember when you like
Oh,
yeah.
well, because I just wanted to get better, and for me, the feeling of like the sensation of running is very important for me. I just need to run, and I was like around 1 month of the process, I was just doing kind of like exercises, but zero running. So at some point of the process, Jason told me, okay, start doing like these hard, challenging exercises, but you can start running as well. I was like, okay, I gotta push myself harder. I'm gonna destroy these exercises and then go for a run. So of those days, I did one strenuous exercise, very hard, challenging exercise.
Oh wait, let me
Uh,
describe it. It's 240 ball slams in one sitting. So you're gonna do about what? How quickly did you do it? And you would have done it in less than 20 minutes, right? Like
in less than 20 minutes. Oh my God, I was just you're just burned out. Like once you do that exercise, you should definitely rest, stretch, or take it easy. But instead, I just decided to go for sprints. Well, my body couldn't handle it very well, so I pulled my hamstring, although it wasn't that bad. But it's one of those situations where you have to tell to yourself like, okay, push yourself harder every time, but you gotta measure yourself as well. Like put yourself some limits, some boundaries, so you don't go
but
beyond what your body can.
here's the thing though. Most people, so if this is like the lower boundary of what people can do, and this is the upper, right? Most people are down here and they push to here and they're like, oh, that's my limit. That's not your limit. That's your limit. You actually push to your limit. Like, I think it's better to go there and maybe go a little too far and then rail it back than to stay here and never push. So, like, even though it was like, oh, that's annoying. Now we have to hold back a week kind of thing and wait for that hamstring to heal. It's also like, cool, every time you pushed and you pushed further, you did so much extra work in the process of finding out how far you could go that by the time you did actually burn yourself out and had to take a week off, you'd done so much extra work along the way that you were way ahead of schedule and it didn't matter. So whilst yeah, maybe it was like, the end, that particular moment was negative, every other bit before it was like so positive that I wouldn't take that back. Like I'd rather you push to the point where you break a little bit than hold back and not ever push hard enough and never get to that point. So I was like, I've had an issue because part of me was like, well, that was stupid. But then part of me was like, well, no, if you didn't do that, you never would have done all that pushing before. So I'm glad, and I don't mind. And I was like, that's the reason you've gotten better, because you just kept pushing until the point where you broke, and that's fine. And then you just have to learn where your breaking point is. Now you know where it is, and you can rein it back a little bit. But yeah, I was equally happy and annoyed at that moment, because I was like, all right, cool. Like he's definitely getting better now. He's willing to push that hard. There's no way he's not going to be completely 100%.
And here's the thing: one of the things that Jason starts telling you about the process is that you have to start teaching your body about doing. Start teaching your body like different types of movements and different types of partners for certain muscles. So it's like, okay, your whole life you have been doing this type of movement in certain ways, and now you have to try to make your body to start doing certain movements in a different way. Try to get your body used to those movements. So that's primarily the reason why I was doing a bunch of reps, a bunch of repetitions every day, because I just wanted to speed up the process. I just wanted to get my body used to the new movement, the new patterns, and get my OP fixed. That's the main reason. I was just pushing it hard every day. So.
And that is the way you get better. The more you can do in a shorter period of time, right, the faster you'll learn it. If you spread it out over longer periods, your body doesn't learn it as much. It's like, well, like, when you wanted to speak English and like learn to speak English really well, you probably learned once you got stuck in a place where they only spoke English and you didn't have the opportunity. Like, you don't have a choice. So by doing it constantly, it's like you don't have a choice. You have to learn. And that was really, really good. That's why you got better so fast, because you just were like, no, I don't get it. And you just kept doing it until it really hardwired in. Okay, so for anyone who's kind of watching this, right, and going through it and really struggling, and just kind of, getting down on themselves and wondering if they can get better, like, what would you want to tell them? What would be the message you want to get across to them to try and kind of help them in their process?
Well, give it a try to Jason's systems. Like, there's nothing to lose. Like, I'm pretty sure if you set up your first appointment with Jason and he starts explaining you about the whole, starts giving you a lot of information about your body and how OP works, and how do you develop it, and you will certainly understand, like, okay, this person has a really good knowledge about it, and he really knows what he's talking about. And you can tell, like, the way he starts explaining you things, he's very clear about explaining you what you have, what you can do, the program by itself. Put your trust in him, and that he will help you to give you the information, the exercises that you will need to fix it, to fix your OP. That's one part, but the other part is all about you. That's what I think. Like, one part is Jason's incredible help, but the other part is all about you. So you gotta try. I mean, there's nothing to lose, and I would say I would highly recommend, because once you get on the web saying like, oh, OP, you will get fixed by 2 years or 3 years, or like for that period, and then it comes this person telling you like, okay, you can get it fixed by 2 months or 3 months. It just depends of your situation. Okay, it's something that I would definitely try. Like, something I would get it fixed quicker than what other sources online are telling me. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this, Andres. And yeah, anyone watching, hopefully you can take a lot away from this.
Thank you.
That was perfect.